Hello, Otafest listeners, and welcome back to Season 5, Episode 24 of the Otafest Podcast. My name's Dio. Good to see you.
Yay, Dio! I'm Jay.
Woo! I'm Nancy. We are not Dio's imaginary friends.
No.
We're all here together.
Tangible, tangible,
magic
but
of the internet.
tangible but digital.
Yes.
That's how that works.
The magic of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasts, of course, are being recorded from home offices, ours included, and so Otafest is still planning community content, even though we can't, be together physically and hold hands and sing Kumbaya.
Mm-hmm.
But we hope you're staying indoors where it's safe, and maybe working on whatever creative projects have been on your back burner in the meantime.
So many.
And so many things. And keep your ears and eyes peeled and ready via our social media channels, where you can expect to hear about future events. Yeah.
It's the only way to be nowadays.
Yes, indeed. If it can be done digitally, it must be done so.
Do either of you feel like you're more, just more and more connected than ever before?
Yeah. In a weird way. So, I was always a very inside-y kind of person. And
I see you're an indoor pet.
Yeah, I was an indoor pet, really. And so
I very much am as well.
This is in a weird way, this is the best kind of normal for me, but also bad because the handful of times that I do want to go out and hang with people, I can't.
Mm-hmm. Can't go to
but I do
a
feel
pub
very connected.
just on a whim, right?
Exactly.
Can't just, go drop off baked goods.
At a friend's house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I do feel very connected. I get to talk to my friends online every day.
Mm-hmm. People reach out a lot and just talk about random stuff or whatever.
Yeah, my dad sends me a text message every morning.
That's so sweet.
It is. It's very cute.
Mm-hmm.
It's adorable. I message my parents a lot too. And by message, I mean we don't type to each other. We send cute stickers at each other.
Aww.
And then they're sometimes punctuated by little voicemail messages like, "Hi, honey, how are you today?
Yeah.
What's work going?"
Yeah.
It's adorable.
I get those as well. It's it's nice. I just want to I'm just such a shitty communicator. Weirdly that I'm not much for small talk, unfortunately. So it really sucks when when my mom's like, "Hey, how are you doing?" I'm like, "Good."
Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that too.
Like-
I have a hard time. The one nice thing about digital communication is you can control your response and when you want to engage on your own time. So it's I might see a text message from someone. It's I just don't have time for this, or I don't have anything interesting to say.
Right.
So instead of responding right away, I'm gonna respond an hour from now.
Yeah.
When I can actually carry on the conversation with you.
Right, and at least I do get to use work as an excuse sometimes because I am at work, throughout the day or whatever, throughout the week. So I'm can't talk. I'm at work right now, and I will answer. I will answer. I never just don't answer at all. But it's just I suck at small talk, and it's mostly small talk from parents, and it's all well-meaning though, obviously, because it's are you healthy?
They care,
Or
yeah.
did you hear about this new grocery store that had a case of COVID? And it's
Yep.
that kind of
that.
yeah, and it's all very kind, well-meaning things. I, this child, the son, am the bad person. So that's just the way it is.
I don't know. It's been interesting because just being by nature of being home, I feel a lot more motivated to just do things that I've had on my back burner for a long time. And a lot of interesting conversation arises with my parents because of that. Last week, out of sheer boredom, I decided I can make my own butter, so I did. And then I sent a picture of it to my parents. And my mom was just like, "How did you do it? Do you have to add salt? Did you this and that and all these other things?" And it turns into a little bit of a rabbit hole in and of itself. So it's kind of been a fun experiment that way. But small talk is, I don't know. I feel like my parents are a lot better at small talk with other peers of their generation, with their siblings. I can listen to my my parents talk to their siblings about freaking like grocery shopping that day. Because it's a topic for them and they're invested in it for whatever reason. But like if I try to talk to my parents about grocery shopping, it just doesn't happen. Like a question and then there's an answer and then it falls flat and that's it.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's like my mom will be like, "Hey, do you have you had enough like to eat, or like has there been any shortages, or do you need anything?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, no, we're good. Yes, I have bought chicken." Like,
Yeah,
the
it's
answer
like
is like factual in nature. Period. You know?
oh yeah, it's like oh you said you were going to Costco on Friday. When
Yeah.
did you go? Like oh we went after work. It's like okay, what did you get? And then it's like I do like a quick mental rundown of all the things we got, and then it's like okay good, and then that's it.
Yeah.
It's like I understand the nature of my parents wanting to make sure that we're fine,
Yeah.
and that we're still eating like fairly healthy adults should be eating.
Right.
But I'm very quickly starting to give some serious weight to your argument last week about how DoorDash is a thing and that if I don't feel like cooking, I absolutely should make use of it because it's available and it's definitely better than making my own bubble tea.
Yeah. I was looking at getting a Blizzard earlier today, and by earlier today, I mean about half an hour ago. I haven't ordered
Did you
it yet.
order more food to
No.
arrive in the middle of podcast again?
No, because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it, but I'm not gonna do it right now, anyways.
Fair.
Although on the topic of groceries, which is like something I never thought about.
We're talking about
Absolutely.
groceries.
Yeah. Bayfar and I, well, because we have a few friends that live around the downtown area. Dio, you're technically being included, but you're not technically downtown. But you're close.
Ooh.
You're sort of close.
I'm close enough.
Yeah.
I'm close enough.
A
So
few of
am
us are
sort of.
splitting an order from like wholesale retail.
Oh.
So like places like
What have you bought?
like restaurant, would supply or would have where wholesale supplies usually like for like meats and other
produce.
other like just things that are usually not fresh stuff, because otherwise you'll get like a huge box of like
Huge
tomatoes or
amount
something like that, which
you can't
won't
do
make any
anything
sense.
with.
Yeah, at home. But like obviously we got some like steak and chicken. We just ordered it, so we'll be getting it. I think tomorrow is the pickup for us, and then we'll be splitting it amongst everyone who sort of ordered in and stuff, and hopefully it's pretty good, because like it should be pretty good actually, because anytime you've gone to a restaurant, it's like 90% of the time it's been supplied by like one of two wholesale retailers anyway, so the quality shouldn't really be in question.
It's just how you cook it.
Yeah, basically, but the prices were pretty good, so I don't know, I guess it's sort of a pro tip for people out there
If this works out for you, I want in on the next one.
I mean, we honestly didn't order that much this time around, so I think more people wouldn't be that bad. You just have to be willing to come in to pick it up from whoever sort of makes up the pickup delivery,
I mean, I stream with Bayfar on Thursdays anyway.
Yeah, I know. But we're not the one, but we're the ones who make the order, but we didn't do that. We're not the ones doing the pickup. We're getting it from somebody else who's doing the pickup, for example.
Oh.
In this case, it's someone else that actually, but either way, like that's just sort of the distribution, because again, there are some that do delivery, but they're not as widespread of a service, and therefore they're not as cheap, and we're just sort of looking for a pretty good price on this. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to get some steak. I haven't had some steak in a while, which would be nice.
Yeah, steak is so good. I miss steak. And summer's coming, so
yeah, we have a grill, so hopefully
barbecue season.
We might do some grills. I have some ribs.
Yummy.
Nice. Yeah, things that like all the things, like it's all these things that we can all still do, right? But it just feels weird because you shouldn't be like inviting people over, and I don't know. Summer is gonna be tough, and we're gonna see a second wave of COVID because of it.
Do you guys have like a mental block of lists, or sorry, I can word this better. Words, Nancy. Do you guys have like a little mental list of things that you definitely enjoy better when other people enjoy it with you? Or do you think that you can pretty much
Sex.
enjoy anything by yourself? Okay, fine. Aside from the obvious answer, thank you.
Some things that I enjoy on my own or like in isolation generally.
Mm-hmm. Do you have things that you enjoy better by yourself, or do you have things that you enjoy and they must be enjoyed with other people? Like, for instance, I know friends who very strongly believe that if they're going to enjoy a drink, they have to enjoy a drink with someone. They can't,
I'm definitely like
enjoy
that.
a drink on their own.
Yeah, I don't enjoy just drinking alcohol for the sake of drinking alcohol by myself. I have to be with someone else, or like, even if it's not for an occasion, but like, I have the luxury, right, of like, I stream, so I often get a lot of social interaction that way every week, and that
Same.
Even if I'm not in the same room as them, or I don't necessarily see the face of everyone that I'm talking with, if I'm like having a drink on stream, I'm sharing that experience with lots of other people. But
also makes for really hilarious streaming when you're drinking on it.
Very much does, and people love it. It really is free entertainment. But that would be like, for example, a thing that like I don't enjoy. Like, drinking to me isn't very fun to do by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, there are a lot of games that I don't enjoy. Like, any kind of like competitive style of game, I don't really like playing by myself. Like, single player games are fun for me to like RPG style games, or like very story drama based games are fun for me to play alone.
Right.
But like, I don't want to play like a co-op game with random people. Like, I want it to be with people that I know.
I don't know, like,
okay.
you know, like, now that you bring it up, so like a lot of people know I don't really drink regularly at all.
I don't either.
But so I'm wondering if it's like a social conditioning thing, but you know, like, I don't drink alone for sure. Like, anytime I do drink, it's because I'm in the company of friends. Not being forced to drink at that time either, right? But just like, it definitely seems more enjoyable to drink while you're socializing. It's also a very interesting question to ask, because like, I am sort of like a ambivert in the way that like, I'm happy to be an introvert and I'm happy to be an extrovert. Like, it doesn't really matter. There are extrovert things that I sort of miss right now though, but like, I am generally happy doing anything I can do as an extrovert as an introvert sort of situation. So like, whether I'm, you know, at home doing it, whether it's like playing a multiplayer game alone, is totally fine with me. Like, queuing up solo in a game is not a problem. Yeah, like, I think it's just, for me, stuck in the general idea that it would just be nice to see people that I care about right now. Like, period.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'm in the same way, and that like, I'm definitely more introverted, and like, I prefer having alone time, but like, there are still scenarios where like, I want to go and hang out with my friends, and I want to go and like meet new people, and I want to like go outside and socialize. And I think the sucky thing about the situation isn't that like, oh, I get all of this alone time. It's that I only get alone time. I can't go out with a friend. Like, I can't, my parents always make a habit of like, I always see my parents on the weekend, every weekend since I moved away from home like a year ago.
Same.
I always see my parents on the weekend. Like, they'll either come to my house or I'll go visit them. I haven't done that. I think the last time I saw my dad was when I had to drop groceries in front of his house while he was in isolation, and I got to wave from my car.
Yeah,
and that was the last time I saw him in person.
I miss going and visiting my parents every weekend. I miss just dropping, like, it's not even every weekend. It's like sometimes during the weekday, Mom will be like, oh, hey, we just got some fresh, like, steak or whatever, and we're gonna barbecue it up on Wednesday. Come by after work. Like, I can't do that.
Right.
Same with the in-laws. Like, the in-laws they very much like having company over in small groups, and I miss just being able to drop in and see them.
Right. With my parents, like, I've been able to visit them, but not in like a really like, not really like for long, or very like no, like, my parents are older, so like, we're very aware of like that sort of concern, because like, I still have to go out to work, so I understand that there's like sort of that low risk factor, even though like with our work there's a lot of like PPE involved and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
not testing is the right word, but like scanning and monitoring, let's say. But like,
Actually, I meant to ask you about that, but you
yeah,
can tell me about that after your story.
yeah, like visiting is consists
Mm-hmm.
of basically seeing them for 5 minutes and being like how's it going, like in person, and just like my mom likes to give me like fruit or like some things that she's made or whatever, and it's kind of like,
Same.
so it's
Yeah.
taking like a small bit of time, but I mean like it's like we can't really hug or anything like that. My mom
Yeah, I
my mom
can't
will
just
like
like drop
yeah,
in.
my mom will like fist bump, and that's cute, I guess, but like it's really just
Aw.
saying like hi, like in the way of me going over to their house, standing at their doorway saying hi, and then how are you
Mm-hmm.
doing, everything seems okay, and then kind of, yeah, like if Momo has something to give me or whatever, and then that's pretty much it, which is like pretty low level, right? But I
Yeah.
think it's still better than nothing, and individual circumstances apply, of course, because I'm sure some people have parents who are, uh, you know, even more in that risk category, or whatever
Mm-hmm.
circumstances might be. But I do hope that people are able to sort of at least visit the people who are like family, for them.
I guess you guys are family too, because I see you at least once a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, what were you gonna ask about my work?
It was a point of curiosity, like what kind of PPE are you guys using right now?
It depends on the site.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, like while we're very, as a company, we're very aware of sort of what our PPE requirements should be like. Different clients will also provide different PPE guidelines and also the equipment to do so on different sites, because we do work with the vulnerable population. We work with just, I guess, anybody is a potential contractor. It's just a matter of like we risk assess for each different site, right? So some are like,
Mm-hmm.
are you working outside? Are you working inside? If you're working inside, who's the clientele? Are the client like, is there any chance that the risk is higher here or there? And some places are like face masks, and some places are face masks and gloves, and some places are no face masks, no gloves. Mainly because it is honestly considered to be pretty low contact. Like, as in, you might not see somebody else for the majority of the shift, you know? So it's not so
Mm.
bad.
Hmm.
And like, this isn't really anything classified, but like in the way that I don't think we've really had any uh, infections this whole time, so that's been pretty good. Like, there's been concerns and
That's
there's been
good.
quarantine as
Mm-hmm.
as relating to concerns, but I don't think there's been actually uh, any actual concerns in that range. I don't know of anyone personally, either away from work or like just like in friends or social circle, who has COVID, which is
Mm-hmm.
nice, I guess.
Yeah,
Right?
it is nice.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
even every time I hear about it, I think it's been pretty like, I don't want to say devastating, but it's like it's been bad. Like, it's, people are coughing their lungs out kind of bad. So
Exactly.
fingers
You
crossed.
don't wish it on
Fingers
anybody.
crossed. Uh,
Knock on
yeah.
wood.
And speaking of jobs, I know Dio got a new job, which is,
I did, yes.
before you
Yay!
even before
Congratulations.
you even launch into that, I want to say that aside from just congratulations, it's really nice to know that people are sort of still able to move around professionally, and get hired for places, or maybe get promoted for others, that kind of thing. Like, it's not just, people are like, oh, the economy is shutting down and all this other stuff, but it just
We're
depends on what you
we're
do and
finding
where.
ways.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's not the absolute end of the world. It's just things are different, right?
Yeah, it
Yes.
hasn't been a total standstill for sure. Like, in the tech world, it's always been a bit easier to move around in the tech world,
Hmm.
but like I mean, we had a new guy start like literally yesterday.
Oh, good.
And yeah, we had to make a case for hiring right now, but I don't think that was a case that was really easy to argue against. It was a very good reason. And, it was a position that needed filling. And it needed filling before the quarantine hit. So it's like, yeah, definitely the world hasn't like come to a standstill for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think for me it was hard to like recognize that. So maybe a little bit of a background. So I had previously been in my previous position for about a year, and I was shopping around, but I wasn't like fully committed to anything. I was kind of just doing my due diligence as an individual, which is that you stick your foot out and you see what's out there, and maybe you find something that better suits you, or better suits your career interests. Maybe you don't, right? You just go around and you interview. And then, so before the whole COVID situation hit, I was kind of just shopping around. Like, I was just looking to see what other positions are out there, what's available, what can I find. Then I transitioned to working from home, and then I was laid off. And that was a very scary experience. That was the second time that I've been laid off as an adult, which was very frustrating and very crushing. And it really did. I mean, for me, the first couple of weeks of COVID really did feel like the world was ending and like my life was falling apart, and it was really tough.
Bad mental space, right?
Yeah, it was a very bad mental space. I was having a really tough time, but I was very lucky in that, I had a very good support system of friends and family, including people I live with and people I don't. But, I said, well, I was already going through the motions of putting myself out there, so I'm going to keep going through the motions of putting myself out there, and I'll see what I find. And I ended up finding the position that I'm at now, which is a different position than I was in before. And, as Nancy was saying, when you're in the tech industry, you have a little bit more leeway to kind of move around and try different things because, even though physical manual labor might stop or might slow down, the technology is always needed to keep things up. The medical industry, like every industry on this earth, always needs someone to develop and maintain their software, someone to support their software, someone to support their web pages and things like that. So
the technology must be upkept.
Work.
Yeah.
So sure. Our technological overlords must be maintained.
Indeed. So I can start my new job tomorrow, which is very interesting and very exciting. The only downside is that I'm going to be working on Pacific time instead of Mountain time. Because
so you're going to be getting up like an hour earlier every day?
An hour later every day. So I start work an hour late, and then I work an hour late. So, most people are working like 8 to 5. I'm working 9 to 6. But that's okay. It just means I can either sleep in the morning, or I'm planning to try and get myself to do something physically active in that extra hour in the morning, or in that shifted hour. Maybe it's not an extra hour, it's a shifted hour. But it's exciting, It's just kind of like, and for especially as a new hire, normally, like if you think of like what's your first day at a new job, you go into the office and you do orientation and things like that. And you meet people, but that's not going to happen in this case for two reasons. Number one new reason is that I'm not physically in the place
in the office
where in the place where I would be working, even if the COVID situation hadn't hit, because they're a province over, so I would have to have moved. But we're not planning on doing that during the COVID situation, because it doesn't make a lot of sense. And so as a result, I'll be starting remotely, which is very new and very different, I think, both for lots of employers and for me to be working remote. But I have done work remote positions before. And I have found personally that I do really well in those kinds of spaces sometimes. It depends on the employer, and it depends on the kind of work, but I do find that sometimes I can succeed pretty well remotely. So I'm excited for that. Yeah.
So I have a question. What do you find most difficult about onboarding remotely? Like, what is one of the hardest things to wrap your head around if you're starting somewhere and you are working completely separate and away from the physical location of the office?
I think especially for companies that are very physical, like that don't have work from home policies, or like never normally do remote work, it's it's the habit to forget that, when you onboard someone new, you really do have to let them sit down and backpack off of someone for like a good month. Like that new hire is glued to someone else
who's like a primary contact for you, right?
Who's like a primary contact, who is like helping them do their job and adjust and understand what their tasks and their roles are for like a good 2 to 4 weeks when they start. And when you're in an office, you maybe don't really think about it because, it's so easy to just lean over your desk or go into that person's cubicle or go into that person's office and just be watching what they're doing. But when you're remote, you have to think about things like, I need to invite this person to the meetings that I have going on today. I need to set up, an open screen share or a call, or have an open channel that I'm constantly checking to communicate with this person. I have to, this person can't physically come and invade my space.
Right.
So I have to make it so that they can digitally invade my space.
What is the most embarrassing thing someone has ever accidentally screen shared with you?
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever shared anything weird. That's a lie. I did have a friend once. It wasn't screen shared specifically with me. It was with an entire stream where their camera had bugged out. They were going live, and their camera had bugged out as they were in the process of putting their shirt on. Now, thankfully, this was a male friend, so, they didn't get any major trouble, but they definitely weren't expecting, they're doing their, like, stream starting thing, and their naked stomach is just full view in the middle of their stream.
There was a screenshot I saw earlier of someone who was being interviewed from home on, like, news, and they had worn, like, a dress shirt and a tie and a suit jacket, but underneath they were very clearly wearing shorts.
Wow.
And it's not like bad. Like, people are understanding, and it's like, ooh, like, guy wore shorts, like, you know what I mean? But it just it just looks funny, obviously, because pants culture's out the door, man.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it is interesting that we're being forced into sort of a new set of etiquette when it comes to things like screen sharing and like video meetings.
Going back to sort of like sort of being a new hire at work, I like, obviously not in that situation, but I think the thing that just came up for me would be, what if you really like the work in the time that you're doing, like, away from or working from home, but when you actually have to go meet, like, the people in the workplace, like, in person, it just turns out that, like, you really don't like the people.
That's my biggest fear. That is literally my biggest fear, because I know that, like, I work from home really, really well because I have social anxiety. Like, I do a pretty good job of masking it, and I do, a good job of trying to be aware of it and dealing with it however best I can as an adult.
Right.
But, like, working from home is easy because, like, I have complete control of my social engagements or social disengagements during the workday. If I just don't feel comfortable being on video during a call, I can just turn my camera off.
Right.
When you're in a physical office, I can't turn my face off. Like, there's, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a fear of mine. I'm like, oh, what if I find that, like, I really, really enjoy working remote and I love it and it's perfect for my lifestyle and it's everything that I want. And then I transition back, or if I transition back into going to work physically and I'm just like, this isn't for me. I don't like it.
Right. That's sort of the thing that we were talking in the sort of the lead up here was, I really wonder how much office space is going to be sort of vacated, like, or reallocated, reassigned,
repurposed.
Exactly, because, like, the quickest example was, like, let's say you have a staff of 50 at any given company, and before COVID, and then during COVID they were like, work from home. Well, we figured out a system. It's a little bit more, it's a little less efficient or whatever, but we're gonna make at this point 80% work from home. If you got 10 people left in the office, and then they realize that this is how
they only ever needed 10 people in the
office ever.
Right. And, like, your work submissions from work from home and uploads and everything like that all could be fairly smoothly completed from being at home. And then they're like, hey, I don't feel like paying another $10,000 in rent, so
For all this leased office space,
right?
so like you
Why
guys
wouldn't
can
I
just stay where
work
you
where you
are.
are?
Right?
Yeah, and I wonder if that is going to become the new normal, because I definitely think the expectation that you need to physically be in an office to do every single kind of possible work is a little bit older.
It's a very old mentality.
Old mentality, and I think if anything, this situation has taught, I think, or has been a very strong demonstration and case example for the fact that it doesn't need to be that way. There is a lot of work. There is work that cannot be done at home, but there is a lot of work that can be done at home.
And then, like, if you have a meeting, then you would just travel into the office where there's probably a boardroom or something like that where you could actually...
Some such thing, where you can physically meet in person if you need to.
But it's important to remember that, like, before all of this, I just quickly Googled it. Calgary's downtown's office vacancy, which has been fairly high. At some point, it was, like, up to, like, a third of offices were vacant downtown.
Yes.
And at the end of 2019, it was about 25% or 24.5%.
So a quarter.
So still quite high.
I wonder where it is now.
Well.
I wonder where it is now. Like.
Yeah, that's going to be a big. I mean,
like
where
will it be after, right?
Exactly, because I remember I worked when I was at my previous position. I was working downtown on the West End, and I would notice, like, I was definitely very aware of, like, the amount of vacancies, because, like, you know, I would look across even in my building, it was like there were entire floors.
Right.
There's an entire floor that was empty. That had offices and space that were not being leased out. Across the street, there was, like, an entire bottom floor of a building where there was just nothing.
Absolutely. Like, sorry, it's just that in the offices that that I'd be working in downtown, I could look across, you know, down at, like, 2 other buildings, and there'd be, like, entire floors where you could just see there's no cubicles, no people, like, it's just completely vacant. It actually looks really weird, but, like, they'll still keep the lights on for whatever reason.
Exactly.
For security, of course. But, like, take my company, for example. We were going through a significant growth spurt right before the quarantine hit. We were aggressively hiring. We were literally running out of desk space. And now we're all working from home. So this, I think, is just, like, a really interesting opportunity to revisit that with this as an opportunity and very much a reality.
My guess in future... I would assume that one of the changes that we're going to see from, like, a hiring point of view is asking candidates whether they would be willing to work from home or prefer to work from home or prefer to work in an office, with those sort of answers being sort of part of your overall application. Because, you know, it's true that, like, for example, office space costs money. It's true that... you know, for example, having the biggest issue I can only see from decentralizing everything in your workforce is that having issues like IT problems would be a much harder thing to address, maybe from home. Like, if your computer dies at home, then you know, like, I guess the first thing you're supposed to do is go into the office and have things sort of rearranged and fixed. But on the whole, it does feel like options for work comfort, let's say, and work efficiency are going to increase because of all the choices that have been made during quarantine and isolation, is my guess.
So what you're saying is that in future hiring and interviewing, this question will be on the same level as, would you be willing to relocate for this position?
To a certain extent, yes.
Like, it'd be an equivalent level question. Like, would you be willing to move to whatever city for this job? Would you be willing to work remotely full-time here regardless?
Right.
Even if you don't have to relocate to another city? Would you... And like, the only thing I've seen come up so far is that there are individuals that just prefer to go to the office.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
for
not
sure.
That, yeah, and it's not that it's an efficiency problem for them. It's just that they prefer that entirely different setting.
It's that mental headspace.
Unlike
for some people, like,
but also
it's
some
very
people
productive.
have kids at home.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
and they're just really distracting.
Yeah, like I always, whenever I talk about like I work well from home, it's also from the perspective I have the luxury of I don't have children. I have a cat and a dog.
Like, you have fur babies.
Well,
I have
but
fur
even
kids,
if you
and they're pretty quiet.
I gotta say though, I don't know if kids really factor into the equation. Like they factor in the equation right now because schools are shut down. They wouldn't factor into the equation.
Daycare,
yeah, they like and daycares are shut down. But like in a regular or more free world, kids would be going to school. You know, kids would be going to daycare or camps during summer and all that kind of stuff. So I don't really see it as much. It's just a problem that's sort of magnified because of the situation.
By the pandemic situation,
right?
yeah.
So,
but I definitely think for some people it's just a matter of like some people. I think it comes down to, does your headspace or does your mental efficiency, like, does it work best when you go through the process of context switching physically, or do you enjoy or are you able to do context switching at home? Because I think if you like physically context switching, then you would prefer to go to an office because that's a physical context switch. Home is home, and that's where you do home stuff, and then you physically go to your office and you do work. And I know for myself personally, like, there are situations where I like going into an office. I would say I definitely prefer to work from home as much as possible, but there are situations where I like to go in person and be in an office. Like if I had, you know, dream say of how often I worked from home, I would say I would be in the office 2 days out of the week and I would work from home 3 days of the week.
That's totally what I would do too. Like 2 days, maybe 1 day, like I don't need to be in the office for what I do. I really
most of the time, right?
Yeah. But here's the other thing. You know, we're talking in sort of, it's easy to talk in sort of like your personal context. But as we're all aware, there's like statistics, for example, LA, where LA is a very largely urban spread city and urban living area.
Densely populated. Very heavy traffic.
Exactly. So traffic, like, you know, you hear stories of like people are stuck in traffic for literally 2 hours a single way, either in or out of work.
Somewhere.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Silicon Valley's like that as well.
Exactly. So like lessening that sort of travel and congestion, like not it's not just about like the travel part of it, but literally not having to take that time. And you know, you already have an 8-hour day at work, but you have to compound another 2 or 3 hours just traveling to and
transit
from
time,
right?
Yeah.
Like, and being able to take that away, I have to imagine that especially in places like that, they're seriously looking at it. Plus, again, with retail, or not retail, renting office space, that's got to be at a premium as well. So that those places will see like such a significant reduction in sort of, I think, worker stress, maybe, as well as sort of making everything more efficient for them. And if you see like big changes like that from sort of large companies located in those areas, that will have a huge ripple effect on the rest of everywhere else.
I certainly can agree that removing the need to commute really improves my mental state for the day.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I hate commuting to work. When I lived at my parents, one of the biggest impetuses for Angela and I moving in together was not just because, like, obviously part of it was because we wanted to move in together because we've been together for a long time, but a big part of it was, for me, was like, I am going to move one way or the other because I cannot handle transiting 90 minutes in one direction every single day.
Right.
I can't do it. I'm going to move one way or another. So if we're going to move in together, now is the time, or else you're going to have to wait another year while I live on my own.
Right.
Because I can't deal with this commute from my parents'
I get to walk to work. I've walked to work for the last year. It's super nice. Sometimes, obviously, in the winter it's cold, which might suck a little bit, but it's like a 20-minute walk. It's not a big deal.
So it's not that bad.
It's not always a 20-minute walk either. Sometimes it's like a 5-minute walk.
Yeah,
which
just
is
kind
like
of depends on the day and
on the and sites and
things
on the job and things. Yeah,
I think I live just far enough away from where I work where it would probably take me like an hour 15 if I just like walked it to work.
Yeah,
you could bike.
I could bike.
Yeah, and so for me, it's like I could like when I transited to work, it would take me like 15 to 20 minutes, which is super convenient. Or if I wanted to bike to work, it would take me like 25 to 30 minutes, which is completely acceptable. If I wanted to walk, I could probably do it in about an hour and get like exercise for the day if I didn't want to take transit. And for me, that was great. But like one of the really nice things about working from home is like I don't lose any time in my day to transiting, right? Like or walking somewhere or leaving the house. Like it's like I get out of bed, I can take my time making breakfast, I can take my time getting ready in the morning, and I can just sit down at my desk and I'm ready to be refreshed and to do stuff.
That's another thing. I can actually have breakfast now.
Yeah, I've also been having breakfast.
You have time to cook.
It's kind of nice.
Eat a nice breakfast. I'm not just grabbing a granola bar out the door or like a croissant from the Costco box of croissants just to bring with me to work. I can actually like
make some eggs.
5 minutes to fry an egg.
Right.
Cut up an avocado.
I made a breakfast sandwich this morning. That was pretty good.
Yummy.
Ooh, I'm so proud of you.
I mean, I make them
before,
for
breakfast.
I mean, it's just nice. Yeah. I will say, sort of going back to the you know how I said like, you know, you could look into online ordering for your food and all that kind of thing. The sad thing that I am seeing now, and it's not like upsetting necessarily, because you just have to understand the logistics. There are fewer and fewer ordering options from where I'm getting like takeout.
Yeah, I have noticed that.
Yeah, restaurants are slowly closing down, especially the ones that are non-chain.
Chain are
local.
disappearing.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bubble tea places is just gone now. Like I haven't seen them, and I'm really sad because I loved ordering from there.
And of course, you're not really sure whether they're like done as an organization.
Yeah, I don't know if they're
done
done for the pandemic or if they're done forever. Like I have no idea, and there's no way for me to contact them or check in on them or see if things are going okay.
I'm mildly terrified that when the pandemic is over, we're going to be at such a great loss for eating options.
Yeah, so many small businesses just in general, I think, are gonna
shuttered.
Small retail, small restaurants, anything that's locally non what do you call it? Franchised, right?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I can't think of like a lot of like I go to a lot of small businesses, but at the same time, like at the end of the day, everyone sort of has their own situation and how they've handled it in the first place, whether they laid people off right at the beginning or like whatever. So it's going to be pretty wild, I think, to see sort of stepping into the recovery age, you know, the recovery period, what is going to be around. And what, you know what, like on a larger scale of things for us, like, what organizations are going to be around in terms of like conventions and like fan organizations and things like that? Because some like nonprofits really do run on a pretty razor thin margin. Things like casino money being like is a
big thing.
Yeah. You know, other organizations that just don't have like the means to keep going after the loss of like a potential year. Because of, you know, you still have to pay things for like storage, for example, even if you're a nonprofit, and you have to pay for a bunch of just overhead items.
Yeah, like with the extension of the ban on large like public gatherings, like music festivals might just go under. They might not come back.
Sled Island.
And even before,
Folk
that's
Music
gone.
Festival. They finally announced for Stampede, which is like different, but there is a music component at Stampede too, you know.
Yeah, so you know the club stage.
They were talking about like the rodeo, because the rodeo, even though there's like a lot of money that you can win at the rodeo as a cowboy. It runs on pretty low, like small margins as well. So.
Yeah,
That's my
and
understanding.
interestingly enough, there well like things like food festivals, for example. That's
Like
another
food truck related
thing that like
things.
spurs people. Yeah, like people who go out to eat to like partake in like Pizza Week
Right.
or like Burger
Burger Week,
Week,
yeah, Poutine Week, all that kind of stuff.
Poutine Week, all that stuff. And it's like, even if these food festivals come back next year, how many people are around to be a part of them?
Hmm. It's gonna be pretty mad to see what public events will be, because like a lot of people were obviously upset about seeing their favorite summer events go down and things like that. But like
Mm-hmm.
the question is like,
Yeah.
what's gonna be around? You know?
What'll be left,
Hmm.
Yeah, what
basically.
will remain,
There's definitely
and
some.
only
But
time will tell.
yeah, and like I have faith that if our favorite, Pizza Week goes away, someone else will start one, like when things stabilize again.
Right. It's just a matter of like you're asking a lot of sort of new community initiatives again. Like,
Yeah.
it's not as easy as being like, "Hi, I'm Bob, and I'll be redoing Pizza Week since the old Pizza Week is gone," right? Like, you have to make all those connections, do all the logistics and paperwork and all that stuff. So it's going to be pretty crazy at the lack of things that will be available during the recovery period,
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
right?
And like, oh man, I was just remembering it's like the last thing I participated in was hot chocolate month.
Yeah, I also did hot chocolate once. Actually, I was gonna
Yummy.
say, what was your last social event?
Oh
Like
God.
big social
Yeah.
event. Right before quarantine hit, that was probably when I had friends over at my new place, and we all rolled and created our D&D characters.
Mm.
How about you,
That
Dia?
was probably the last time I had a gathering. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, you know what? I think mine was Sakura-con prep because I was planning
Oh
to
yeah,
go
I'm
to
sorry about that.
Sakura-con.
Oh
So I had a
yeah,
bunch
a
of
lot of people
friends.
are
I had a bunch of friends come over and we had like not really like a party, but like we were all working on various little projects and
cosplay
stuff.
and
Yeah, and so we had
yeah.
snacks and we had music going and yeah, we were just working on stuff and yeah,
Mhm.
so I think that was the last time I had like
Hmm.
people over.
Not
Man, I
surprisingly,
just
the last one I was at was just like it was an Otafest meeting. Like we had a dinner after a meeting. That was nice. It was
oh
nice.
nice. But
Yeah,
if
I'm
you had to
starting to miss
ask,
all that stuff.
yeah, if you had to ask like
yeah, me
that,
too.
what was your last event? Then it's like I didn't think it was gonna be that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't think the last time I would get to hang out with people was I figured my last event was I was going to go to soccer con and I was going to be stuck in my house for 14 days, but
That was the
nope.
hope, right? That was
That
the
was the
push.
hope, but it was
Yeah.
not the case.
Yeah.
Very quickly became not the case
Yeah, I think
at all.
I've said this
Yeah.
before, but I really want to go out for all you can eat sushi with
Oh,
people, with
I
just like
I
I
with
want
second that.
literally
sashimi
almost
so
everybody.
bad.
I
I
just
want sashimi so
Yeah,
bad.
I just like
So do I.
we've ordered sushi a couple of times in.
It's not the
Yeah,
same.
and I really
Yeah.
do want to have like I want to invite everybody that would want to go, no, and we're just gonna like crowd out a restaurant. You know what I mean?
I miss Peking duck.
I miss Peking duck, but Peking duck is like it's a I want to have it, but I wouldn't. You can't order it. Well, you can order it, I guess, as a delivery, but it just wouldn't be right.
No, it wouldn't be right.
Yeah.
Peking duck for me is a food that you have to enjoy with other people because you can't have a whole duck to
Yes, you
yourself.
can. That is quitter talk.
Okay, I'm not you.
That's quitter
I am
talk,
not you.
and you are not dedicating yourself enough to the duck.
Quack.
I'm gonna dismiss that comment, but like duck was it was a family event. We went out for
Yeah, of
duck.
course.
We had like
Yeah.
the wraps, we had the soup, we had the noodle, we had the fried rice, and it like we always had it together
Yes,
with the fam, and it's like that. I miss that.
of
I
course.
really, really miss that.
And just gotta hope that the restaurants that we're talking about having them at will be around, and it's gonna be crazy. But I think that if anything in the summer, like I'm not talking about any sort of medical perspective. I'm just saying that I feel like things will sort of loosen up a little bit in the summertime. I don't know if anyone here has goals for like sort of a post-quarantine summer or like a relaxed quarantine summer. I'm hoping to go on a really short road trip. Just
Just to go driving
just
outside of the city?
yeah, like I miss road trips and I just miss having that sort of freedom feeling right now.
I don't know. Well, okay, so the provincial parks around us are currently closed
Yes.
to discourage tourists,
Mhm.
obviously. But it's like, that's one of the areas I would want most to drive through. Like, I would want to be able to go and enjoy some nature and some nice views,
Right.
through my car window. Maybe even get out and have some of that air, but like, that's where I'd want to go, and now it's currently blocked off.
Right. The one thing I will say is I will not go to the States, I think.
Yeah, I'm not planning on going to the
The
States
numbers are
either.
just too much and there's just not enough unity in sort of their
Controlling it.
So it's too bad because
Yeah,
I
I
was
have to agree
considering
with
like
that.
going to Seattle on a road trip or going through Montana on a road trip just as something fun. Can't, but I
would
won't do it.
love to go to Seattle as a road
Yeah,
trip.
I won't
Ugh.
do it now. Won't do it for
Yeah.
foreseeable years, I think. So,
Yep, time to be responsible about it.
right.
As much as we want to.
I do.
Like, I'd be all over that road trip with you.
Yeah.
Holy.
I will say that I can't think of what my first post quarantine activity is gonna be.
Yeah, I have no fucking.
Oh, there's too
No
many.
clue.
Like
I don't know where to
sorry, and when I'm
start.
saying like activity, I'm not saying like going to that restaurant or going to like I mean like going to a social event,
Yeah,
like
is
whether
it
it's
gonna be a convention? Is it
yeah,
gonna be
a
like a
food truck
big
festival or
gathering?
whatever,
What
right?
is it
Like
gonna
what's it
look
gonna be?
like?
I'm gonna get everyone who's available to just go out for bubble tea. Like, I'm gonna start small. I just want us all to go meet up for bubble tea.
Oh man,
Well,
I
I'm
just
inviting
thought of something.
myself.
I just thought of something. Because I
Mm-hmm.
haven't seen like, because we have friends in the Oda fam that have like kids.
Yeah.
Like, how much bigger are they gonna be by the end of
Oh
this
my
before I
god,
see
they're gonna
them
be
again?
massive.
How
different.
big's Ellie gonna be, and how big's
She's
Ellie's
gonna look
gonna be
different.
so
She's gonna be a
cute.
big
Yeah.
girl. She's
She's
gonna be
all
bigger
gonna
than the
be-
cats.
No.
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
right? I don't know how big is like all just
All the
all
little
the
Oda
little ones, all the
minions.
little ones, right?
All the little Oda minions are gonna be big.
Right? It's
Hmm.
gonna be mad.
Oh, good. We can use all the unpaid labor we can get.
True.
We always have.
I kid.
No, that's how we operate. There's no joking.
Well,
That's why
it is-
we're a
it is
volunteer-run
volunteer
organization. Yep, from the
It's
top to
true.
the bottom.
Whether you're volunteering or voluntold.
Exactly. Oh no, I just came across a picture of some really good-looking food.
Oh,
Why do you do this to yourself?
Oh, because
Why do
food
you
is
do
great.
this?
I'm gonna post it.
So,
I'm gonna post
another
it to the
thing-
Discord.
So another thing that I realize that I only really like to share with other people is when I bake like big sweet things, like if I make
Like
the
a big
cinnamon pull
batch?
apart, or
Oh,
if I make a
dude.
pie, or if I make a big cake. I don't do that when it's just us at home.
Did
Right,
you-
because there's
I
not
only
enough
do that when we
people.
have gatherings.
Yeah,
like
to
I
share
make
it.
apple pie. Like I make
Yeah,
apple
for
pie for extra
sure.
life.
I can't
or
remember
I make
whose
like cinnamon
whose
bread.
online video it was. It was probably like Bon Appetit's video, but someone made like a cinnamon date roll, and it just looks so
Oh.
good. I don't
Why
bake.
do you do this to yourself?
I don't bake either. That's sort of the issue. Maybe I can get Baypar to do it. I'll just prod at him, be like,
Your oven is broken though.
no, it's not.
Unlucky.
Unlucky.
not.
Your oven is broke.
No, it's not.
Well, it wildly fluctuates in temperature when you try to set it to something, so you can never consistently bake anything.
That's not what my pizza says.
Pizza's
mean,
a
it
less
is what-
exact baking science, but true.
Definitely.
I don't know
less
if it's like
exact.
broke for baking, but I mean, it makes me pizza and it makes me bacons and it makes me many other
Bacons.
foods. So I
Yummy,
disagree
yummies.
that it is broken. I would say it's inconsistent, which is a different problem.
Okay, fine. It's inconsistent.
I mean, it's my oven. I think I would
unacceptably
know.
so. Fine. It is unacceptable.
It's acceptable. It makes bacon.
Acceptable.
Period.
Mm.
Yeah. Is there anything else we'd like to touch on before we sort of wrap this up?
The only anime thing that I can really touch on is the new Ghost in the Shell.
Right.
If you guys are interested in hearing my quick take
It's on Netflix?
Yes, tell me.
It is on Netflix, so Ghost in the Shell, it was not animated by Production IG, unfortunately.
Is
it's
IG
a
even
studio
in?
animating
No,
it.
IG's still in business.
Oh, they're in business.
Yeah.
So this one was animated mostly by Sola, I think. So they did the 3D cell animated cell shading style.
Okay.
So this is part of the standalone complex incarnation of Ghost in the Shell, because there's quite a few incarnations of Ghost in the Shell. And SAC 1 and 2 were definitely my favorites. I don't like this one as much. There's only half a season so far.
How long is it?
But
like, what is half a season today?
I think it's 12. It's currently at 12 episodes.
Okay, so they're going for 24
but it's only the first
to 26.
It's only the first half of this season.
Okay.
Yeah, so 24.
It.
Okay, that makes sense.
But my only real beef with it is that they tried to make the Major look a little too cute. Like, she's a badass.
Right.
She's
let her be a big, buff, strong woman.
Post-apocalyptic,
badass.
purple hair, strong warrior woman.
Doesn't need to be a waifu.
No.
She is very, very independent and very badass. But it's like, the more shots that I see of her in it, it's like they definitely tried to make her more diminutive. Like they made her shorter, they made her smaller. They made her face very cute.
That's a design choice.
It's a design choice.
Mm-hmm.
I personally am not for it. Those people who really like that visual style, that's great. Good for you. Her outfit is very true to her. It's just the way they rendered her person that seems a little out of character for me.
Right.
But, they still tell, they've been very good at keeping the characters true to their SAC versions.
Right.
So, the Major is still very badass. My favorite episode to date so far is Boto Goes to the Bank. And
something
it very
you can't
much
do
is
normally.
one of
That
those.
was, not something I was expecting.
Yeah.
It's Boto Goes to the Bank. It's not Boto Goes grocery shopping.
Right.
But they still set the tone for a very Orwellian dystopic future.
Okay.
And Boto going to the bank is like an establishing episode of that, however touching and alternatingly comedic at times.
Mm-hmm.
But there are definitely episodes that make me tear up because they very much paint a picture that's very on the nose for a very potential future that's close to us now.
Right. That's sort of terrifying and sad.
Yeah, exactly. It's terrifying, it's sad, and then there are bits of humanity that shine through that are really touching.
That's good.
And 1984 is very heavily referenced. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
I'd be willing to get into that just for that, just to see sort of what they're into.
They've managed to maintain the same tone that they did in the first two SAC seasons. So I'm very happy about that. Mm-hmm. The characters are very true. The only thing that's really truly missing is Yoko Kanno doing the music. She's not there.
Aww.
The music doesn't quite strike the same.
I mean, Netflix just has a hate on for the music that belongs to the series, because if you look at Evangelion, Jesus Christ.
Oh, true.
Jesus
Christ.
Christ.
None of that. They were like, nope.
What a mistake.
That was a crime.
They were like, no, you cannot have it.
Oh boy. But yeah, so that's really the only new anime thing.
Right.
Since Angelo's not here to talk about anime and anime things.
Anime related.
Thingies.
Yeah, but I mean,
yes.
Actually, really quick, just as we're talking about it, we are gonna probably have our anime preview episode coming up again soon. So we'll probably
Exciting.
That'll probably come up, and I don't know if we can really do anything, but I was hoping to sort of celebrate maybe next episode. People should be looking out for our next episode because it's the 100th episode. And if you had to ask me, I'd be like, I don't know if we would ever have made it to 100 episodes.
And yet here we are.
Should we have a digital birthday party for the 100th podcast?
Digital birthday party.
Yes.
I'll get everybody ice cream or something and send it to your house.
Oh my gosh, heck yes.
Delicious.
But
that
yeah.
sounds amazing.
I don't know if the anime preview episode will be next episode, but it will be coming out, I think fairly soon. Yeah.
Soon.
New season stuff. Although Angelo said that he hasn't been watching a lot. and I don't know if you
Oh,
have
interesting. I've been watching a couple new shows,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of cleaning up my backlog of stuff as well, which has
Right.
been
Mm.
nice since that's what I was doing with my brief unemployment time.
Right.
Was
What
watching
did
some
you
new stuff.
watch?
So I watched Beastars.
Yes,
I knew
I
you
started
would.
like 1 or 2 episodes of it. How was the rest
Oh,
of it?
I loved it. It was great. I want a season 2. I'm so
I'm
invested.
actually really
I didn't
glad
think
to hear
I would care.
Yeah.
Huh.
There was one that I was hearing about. It's another isekai though, so I don't know if you'd be watching it, but I heard it was at least funny. It's like
Yeah, isekai
one where a
shows
girl
are hot.
dies. Yeah, and she comes back as
Oh,
in like sort of like dating sim or
As the
visual
bad
or like
guy?
visual
Yes.
novels.
Yeah.
And I
yes,
thought
Yeah.
that
I've
was
heard of
funny.
this one. I don't remember the name, but everyone told me I would actually like it, so I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna watch it.
Yeah. We'll have you
Let's
back
watch
on
it.
either way.
Yeah, let's watch
So,
it together, and
yeah.
then we can talk about
Okay.
it.
Yeah, we'll set up. We
Yeah.
should
Yes,
set up.
let's
We
do
should set
it.
up a few more watch parties.
Watch parties.
while we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We were talking about this earlier, actually. I know Vern is always up for a rewatch of The Last Airbender.
Right. And yeah, we
Ooh,
talked about this last
classic.
episode, so
Yeah.
we should do that.
So, definitely
Yeah.
have a watch party.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
I
know.
like the
Yeah,
sound of
Vern also
this.
just did one for Promare. I didn't get to watch because I'm a
Mhm.
dummy and I forgot
missed
about
it.
it. Yeah, I'm a dummy. I just
Well, I
forgot
missed
about
it. I joined the Discord like half an hour after the movie had started. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to watch it now.
Right,
That just ruins
right.
it. So I'm going to watch it from the beginning when I get to.
I feel it. But yes,
Mhm.
these are the things that we have to look forward to. Hopefully, everyone is doing the same with their own respective social circles. I really hope that people are finding ways to keep close. Even
Yeah,
if you're like me
exactly.
and you suck at like, communicating. I really hope that, this that you get to be human, I guess, through all this. That's kind of a big thing,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Mhm.
Thanks again for listening, and we will catch you next time, next week, same same bat place, same bat time.
Yes.
Stay safe, everyone.
Take care.
Mhm.
Bye bye.